because a couple more moves that happened were that Duarte got traded to the Kings, Chris Duarte, and it got released today that he got traded for a 28 and 30, or 2028, 2030 second round pick. So 2 second rounders for Duarte. I mean, it's not terrible.
Yeah, well, this almost kind of illustrates the lesson of you don't go head over heels over a guy, because the Kings wanted him in the Sabonis trade.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
And now they're getting him for 2 seconds.
Yes.
They're getting a guy that has injury history, is maybe not necessarily going to fill the role that they need him, or he could fill the role, but I guess due to the injuries, he's not necessarily a promise to fill a role at the wing. But you're getting a guy for 2 second round picks that could end up being a low risk, high reward move.
Yeah,
which kind of
seems a Monty move.
That seems like a characteristic
move.
That really does. And we were talking about with Kessler Edwards, and that totally ended up being the epitome of that. And Duarte could supersede that. I think right now we'll see, but hey, you got a guy for 2 seconds that was considered untouchable.
Untouchable, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the report was that the Pacers would not include Duarte in a trade with the Sacramento Kings for Halliburton. And it's so funny, 2 years later, it's like, here's 2 second rounders.
Yeah.
For this guy. I mean, I get it. He's injury prone, and he didn't have the greatest season last year. Because I remember his rookie season, everyone was like, man, this guy's so good. 'Cause he's older, too, for a third-year player now. I think he was old, obviously, as a rookie, if he's old now. I think he was like a 23-year-old-ish rookie, like a Stetson Bennett out of Georgia. But college football, no one understood that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where he's going with that.
Well, I mean, just off of that, I mean, he did, to his credit, kind of like begin to change the narrative on like, well, do you take a chance in the first round or an older rookie? Davion was
he was a senior,
and he was what, pick number 10 or 12?
11.
Okay,
12? He might have been 12.
Something in that range. So kind of like later lottery, but yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that either now. But
it's just that Duarte at the end is bringing us back to Duarte. I mean, he saw his potential, even if he's an older third-year player. I mean, I think he's going to be 26. As a third-year player, you're usually thinking like 22, 23.
One of the things I like about him is that, and this could be a knock on some guys, like he doesn't have necessarily like a strength that could develop into some kind of an elite thing.
He'll be 26.
He'll be 26.
Or he is 26. He'll be 27 sometime this year.
Right. But that is one of the things that I kind of like about him, is that he doesn't have like, I guess like his calling card is like a mix of things, which I think in terms of like being a role player, and obviously McNair and company likes what they see out of him. A lot of people like what they see out of him. I'm sure that you take the injuries out of the equation, things are a lot different. He might still be untouchable, but he's gonna be in a position to do a lot of different things, whether that means playing off ball in offense, playing a little on ball in offense. I don't really know how many opportunities there will be for that, with given the amount of talent that the Kings have in on ball guys that can handle that and be a playmaker. But also on the defensive end, he can do a little bit. There's a little bit of everything, and it's kind of a wait and see approach. I think one of the things that's interesting about Duarte is physically, play style wise, he's not far off from Colby Jones. They're both like a little undersized for the wing. They're not quite point guards, kind of combo guards that guard the wing, again, to kind of use that description. And it kind of puts you in a position where Duarte could come into camp, take the primary minutes at that role, that Terrence Davis role, if you want to call it that.
I always love that. It's a Terrence Davis
role, or the KZ Okpala role.
Yeah. That third guy probably gets some minutes. Yeah. I kind of like how we have a word. Everyone does now, though. It's like, it's a Terrence Davis role.
Yeah. And that one makes a lot of sense, because Terrence Davis really was kind of in that awkward kind of alternate man in the rotation. Is he in, is he out? But seems like if I had a bet, Duarte would get that. And it just puts you in a position where you might be able to get more out of him with a different situation and with the best training staff in the league. I think that's an important note.
Yeah, that is true.
We'll see how much that pays off. Everybody could end up getting hurt next season.
I know.
Could be like the 49ers in 2020. But, it's one of those things where you kind of see what you can get. And then if injuries do come up, if maybe he's not as fruitful as you'd like him to be in the role, then the opportunities will start to fall in a rookie Colby Jones' lap. And, Colby Jones is a second-round pick, but kind of the first-round pick in everybody's minds. He got the contract of a first-round pick, essentially. It's just kind of going to be nice to not put anything on anyone's shoulders. And so, while Duarte doesn't excite, it gives you versatility, it gives you options, and it really does further the depth. We talked about this team last season being deep, and they were, If you're talking about Terrence Davis being a guy that could be in a lot of teams' rotations, and he's kind of on that fringe of the rotation. I think the way it is now, you're essentially your feature pick from the draft, your main acquisition in free agency. I mean, it was a trade, but you're kind of throwing these guys together, and nobody's promised anything. And I think iron sharpens iron, and it's going to be good. And I just think the team is way deeper now.
Yeah, and I think an important note to point out about Duarte is that he's played with Sabonis before.
Yeah, which I didn't even think about.
Yeah, and it's maybe was only half a season before he got traded. He could have come over with Sabonis, but Pacers said he would not be included. But something important to note is that per 100 possessions with Sabonis, Duarte averaged 24 points per game, 3.8 assists, and shot 39% off of three-pointers off of Sabonis' passes. And you're like, yeah, well, I mean, I could too with Sabonis initiating the offense. But it kind of just shows that he's going to fit the system well. I mean, Sabonis is the offense at the end of the day. And it seems like he's going to fit the system well, too. He's going to fit right in. I think that it's nice to know, too.
Yeah. I mean, how did that work out for Justin Holiday?
That's a great point. Justin Holiday can hit it.
But Holiday did kind of hit the end of the road for his career, I think, unfortunately.
I mean, where is he now?
I don't think he was with Dallas at the end of last season.
Was he?
Yeah, I think he was throwing up.
Dude, I was so pumped to get Justin Holiday.
I loved Justin Holiday when he was just like that. Not in the rotation with the Warriors. I think he signed with the Sixers or something after that. Or maybe I'm thinking Atlanta. Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
after the Warriors. No, you got Atlanta.
And then because he ended up getting traded to Atlanta with the Herter deal, so that's just interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, huh?
But I just always like Justin Holiday.
He's gonna go into Justin Holiday.
But to give Duarte some credit off of that, he's not Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday is a spot up 3-point shooter with some. He was a 2-way 3-and-D guy. That's pretty much the extent of what he did. Duarte's a little bit more than that. He can handle the ball. He can create for other people. Granted, that's nothing he does is elite, but he does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have a chance to hold his own, and I do actually kind of anticipate him getting minutes over a guy like Colby Jones to start at least.
I mean, he should. As long as Chris Duarte can stay healthy and consistent, I think he's going to get a lot more minutes than we're going to give him credit for. I mean, he was super good as a rookie. There was a lot of potential in this guy. Yeah. Hit a wall last year. I mean, if he can stay healthy, I think his consistency will, stay consistent. I don't know what the word is. But he'll stay consistent, I guess, is what I should have said.
Well, I think the consistent role is important.
A consistent role as well.
Because you get Halliburton there. Halliburton is such a good primary ball handler. One of the best in the league, even at his age. His contract extension speaks to that.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere from a Pacers outlet that was like, Duarte is his role is a little different now because you have like such a key feature. Your best player is Tyrese Halliburton now. Yeah. That wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. You could play Duarte with, a facilitating big man and it would mesh a little bit better. It's a little different when you have, Tyrese Halliburton in the backcourt. So maybe some more consistency into the role and what he's expected to do will help him kind of be able to produce. So off of that note, I mean, things will be easier for him to be consistent. I mean, granted, he has to stay healthy, but the role is going to be far more specific, I think, which should probably help his cause.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah.
I think it was, one of the best moves so far.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt.
I mean, it's hard to compare because everything else was just a re-sign. But, it was nice to bring in a fresh face that we weren't expecting.